one of the great tracks off of the Oriole Galaxy, and we will actually have the man behind that album, Adam the Hob, in studio next week here at the Chicago Beat. Thank you for keeping it tuned in with us. I am Mike Mercado, and coming up next, we have the guy behind the Daily Blitz. You can follow him everywhere in the universe on Twitter at the Daily Blitz _61. You can hear him on Polar Opposites, The Sports Den, Fantasy Fanatics, and WXCI 91.7 in Connecticut. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome from the Daily Blitz a good friend of the show, Christian Simpson. Christian, welcome to the show, buddy.
15 Chapel. What's going on, man?
How you been, buddy?
For everybody who doesn't know my little nickname for Mike right here, you know, his real name is Michelangelo. Michelangelo painted the 15 Chapel. So.
Thank you, Mr. Simpson. I mean, it is a pleasure to have you on, buddy. What's been going on, man? I haven't talked to you in a while.
Oh, man, I'm just living a dream, you know, analyzing the sport. I love both the NFL and college, just going around and really trying to help other people. You know what I mean?
I hear it.
Just trying to like bring out the best in everybody else.
It's great, man. And we really appreciate you coming on to the show, man. Let's get right into it, man. Who is the best team in the NFL right now? I had Mike Pendleton in last week from 87.7 The Game and Red Eye, and you know he gave me a few names, a few teams, but it seems like anytime I ask this question to anybody, everybody has a different answer. To me, it really comes down to three teams: Arizona, Denver, Seattle. Who do you think is, in your opinion, Christian Simpson, who is the best team in the NFL?
Right now, I think it's the Dallas Cowboys. I just like the way they're controlling the line of scrimmage. They're pounding DeMarco Murray, and I've said it years and years. I don't know how long I've said it, but I've said it numerous times after numerous times. Make DeMarco Murray a point of emphasis, and it's going to pay off in the end. And look at what he's doing. He's running the ball. That offensive line, they're being physical. They're opening up the holes so DeMarco can get up there. And Tony Romo isn't having to throw the football 45 and 50 times a game. Teams are loading that box on the Cowboys running game, and that's creating a lot of one-on-one opportunities for Dez Bryant and Terrence Williams. And you can't forget Jason Witten over the middle, and this defense has played a lot better than expected. Their front seven can tackle, they can get pressure on the quarterback, and their secondary makes plays when they know they have to.
Okay, but how long until the bottom falls out? Because it is the Dallas Cowboys. So, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, there is a bad streak coming at some point. I mean, November is right around the corner, if I'm not mistaken, and that is the time that the Cowboys typically fall off. So, are they really going to stick to the number one team? Are they the Seattle of this season? Because I hear a lot of people, a lot of heads on television telling me that this is a poor man's version of the Seattle Seahawks. They have a great running game and they play a physical style of defense. Yeah, maybe, but it's October. I know this team. Am I wrong?
You know, I think there's still a lot to be determined, but through the first 6 weeks of the season, they're the best I've seen. You know, I was going to say San Diego, and don't get me wrong, I think they've been really impressive. Phillip Rivers is playing at an MVP level. They got a really good receiving core surrounding him with Malcolm Floyd, Keenan Allen. You got Brandon Oliver. He's the kid that's replacing Danny Woodhead right now. Their defense just kind of concerns me because they did give up 4 touchdowns to a rookie quarterback in Derek Carr last week.
Mm-hmm. Now, who is the MVP? Because you're talking about Phillip Rivers, and you just mentioned DeMarco Murray a little bit earlier. There's a lot of Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning, the typical guys are always on the list. Who is the MVP as of week 6? If we were going to do one right now, who is the MVP?
It'd be Phillip Rivers. This is the best I've seen him look in quite some time. I've been watching this guy. I saw him in college, seen him really mature over the years as a pro. And this is the best I think I've seen him look. And now he has a coach that can coach to his strengths. The last couple of years under North Turner, he wasn't being protected. Now he has time to really gather himself from the pocket, and he and Antonio Gates, they've really bought back time.
Now, okay, you talk about Phillip Rivers and 7 years in the league, and he's finally putting it together. Then how is it okay then that some people could say Phillip Rivers has put it together, but then you hear some experts or fans talk about Jay Cutler will never be able to put it together? How is it possible that all these different quarterbacks in the NFL, can it really be that Jay Cutler just has that bad of jerk face that anybody else, Tony Romo can have redemption and take his team as well as they're playing right now? Phillip Rivers is doing the same thing. It's not possible for Jay Cutler to be doing the same thing?
I think what it is for Jay Cutler is the leadership. Sometimes he just doesn't want to own up to the responsibility. That's the thing I get in the vibe that I kind of get whenever I see him play. They're not consistent, and I told you this during the offseason, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
for the Bears to be successful, they have to be consistent, and they've been consistently inconsistent. That win against San Fran, yeah, that's going to give you a spark. Then you go on the road the next week and you beat the Jets, a tough game against the Jets, and then you come home and really wet the bed against the Green Bay Packers.
Well, I'm looking over here at the Chicago Bears, and they remind me of just a typical NFL team that anytime their quarterback throws an interception, they're going to lose that game. There's not many teams that can overcome their quarterback throwing interceptions. Now, Jay Cutler may have a golden arm. You know what? I will admit, I'm a mark for Jay Cutler. I think he's a really good quarterback, especially speaking of how many years we've had really bad quarterbacks in the city of Chicago. Now, I'm sitting here, though, and I believe that Jay Cutler has already been on the road to MVP caliber seasons. It was one injury after another, and now he's never had the weapons that he has now. And you're seeing it. They gave up what killed him was that game against Buffalo. I mean, we're going to look back right now into the game against Buffalo, the game against Carolina, that if they don't make the playoffs, that's why. And what do both things have in common? Jay Cutler throwing interceptions.
Oh, definitely. I couldn't agree with you anymore. He has to take care of the football. And one thing I need to see him do is he's getting older now. With these quarterbacks getting older, they're not always going to be able to depend on that big play down the field. Go short. Go intermediate.
All right, yeah. Now that I'm hearing this, and it just reminds me of just Jay Cutler will never be a very safe kind of quarterback. You know, he when I see Jay Cutler, I just feel he wants to be Brett Favre. There's nothing wrong with that. Brett Favre broke my heart so many times as a Bears fan because he was that good. I hope Jay Cutler can end up becoming that great of a quarterback. But I think, just like you're saying, if you take care of the ball, this Bears team could win 12 games, and that's not an exaggeration.
Oh, definitely. You look, and if their defense can get it together, put it together like this, Mikey. All right, let's dream, okay? Let's go dreaming for a minute.
All right, let's go. Let's go nap time.
Say if the Bears have that defense from 2006, the year they went to the Super Bowl, with the offense that they have now under Mark Trestman, I think this is the best team in the NFC. San Francisco, who? Seattle, who? Philadelphia, who? No, this is the best team in the NFC if they can get everything together.
Well, it's funny, Christian, because I had Mike on last week, and I've been saying it anytime that I've done one of these Bears shows or football shows that the Chicago Bears do not need a top 5 defense. They don't even need a top 10 defense. They need a middle of the pack, not let you get destroyed defense. And guess what, Christian? That's exactly what they have, and it's this offense. The offense where we all thought a 6'4" and a 6'3", Brandon Marshall, Alshon Jeffrey, a Martellus Bennett, a Matt Forte, they're putting up 23 points. That's a problem. And a lot of it I don't think has to do with Jay Cutler or the players. How can you tell me that a play against, let's say, Green Bay, the Martellus Bennett play on the goal line, you gave up 20 seconds before that when Matt Forte caught the ball and went 15 yards off that little screen. So I think a lot of these Bears losses go down to Mark Trestman.
Oh, definitely, and it's always going to go back to the head coach. But their defense, too, also concerns me. What I'm also looking at is Jared Allen really has that big of an impact on this Bears pass rush. But the one thing that really caught my eye, since we're talking about that Green Bay game, why would you put a rookie in Kyle Fuller, one-on-one, isolation coverage on a top 10 receiver in Jordy Nelson? At least have some safety help over the top, because Aaron Rodgers exploited that mismatch all day in that game.
And it's kind of unfortunate because Fuller's been a very, very, very good pickup by the Bears. So it's just one of those games where he met the best quarterback with his best receiver. And I don't know many corners that could stop Aaron Rodgers and Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb, Devontae Adams. I mean, that's a stacked team. And Aaron Rodgers makes anybody that much better. And I said it the week after the game. Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback. Jay Cutler is a good quarterback. That is the difference. Aaron Rodgers can make mistakes, but he can get you out of them. It's hard for Jay Cutler to do that. It doesn't take away from how good Jay Cutler is. It just shows how great Aaron Rodgers is. But I'm actually looking at it right now of the Bears taking on the Miami Dolphins, buddy. Why don't we take a look around the NFL? Let's start right here since we're in the city of Chicago. Bears-Dolphins, 1 o'clock game at the lakefront. Who do you got?
I like the Bears in this one. I think they can come out, really get Matt Forte going. That's the thing I've noticed about the Bears over the last couple of weeks is now they're starting to get Matt involved within this offense. And if I'm the Bears defensively, I got to find another way. I got to find ways to take away Brian Hartline and Mike Wallace to force Ryan Tannehill to beat me with other receivers. I like the Bears in this one. I just think right now they're at home, got a big win in a hostile environment last week.
And there's a few games that have caught my eye other than the Bears-Dolphins game. One of them is the Colts versus the Bengals. You have two teams that are leading in their division. Bengals coming in at 3-1, Colts at 4-2. A lot of people want to put the Colts as one of the better teams in the AFC. I like Andrew Luck. I like a lot of the things that Indianapolis does, but I'm not too sure about them. I just don't know where I put them or where I rank them in the NFL. And this is a very big game. The Bengals also are going to be without one of the defensive linemen. Was it Ray Luga? I forgot exactly who they're going to be out with next this coming up weekend. But Cincinnati's hurt without AJ Green as well. So I don't know where this is going this Sunday.
I like the Colts in this one. I just think, Luck is playing right now with a lot of confidence. They have Reggie Wayne back. He's that veteran guy that can make that big catch on third down to really move the chains down the field. They're not running the ball as efficiently and consistently as they want to, but they're moving the chains, and defensively they're playing a lot better without their best player in Robert Mathis.
Now, Chiefs versus Chargers, divisional matchup. You have the Chiefs who have kind of come back to reality from last season after having a really good season last year. Chargers 5-1. You're talking about Phillip Rivers being the MVP favorite as of right now at 5-1. Do the Chargers keep this up? Kansas City has a pretty nice little defense.
Yeah, they do. And this is one of those divisional games, so both these teams know each other pretty well, like the back of their hand. This is a pretty big game, especially for one player on San Diego, Brandon Flowers. He was released by Kansas City, and he chose to sign with San Diego for games like this, to stay in the division. Always prove wrong to somebody when they release you. I think this is going to be one of those grinded-out games like we saw the other night with the Jets and Patriots, but I like San Diego in this one. This is a tune-up for the next game next week against Denver.
That's going to be a great one. And speaking of Denver, nice segue, you're a professional. You have the 49ers versus the Broncos. 49ers coming in at 4-2. I don't know how they're doing it. They're 4-2. This was a team that was supposed to fall flat on their face after all these arrests and off-field issues and contracts. And then you have the Denver Broncos, obviously, with Peyton Manning, 4-1. So many weapons, looking odds-on favorites again in the AFC. This is a nice Sunday night game. Who do you got?
Well, let's start with San Fran, Mikey. Let's start with them first. And when you face a guy like a Peyton Manning, everybody feels you got to put points up on the scoreboard. You got to get away from your identity. They can't do that tomorrow night. They got to run Frank Gore and Carlos Hyde, play that physical brand of football, offensive linemen winning the battle of the trenches up front. Because having Kaepernick throw that ball 35 and 40 times a game isn't going to win them games. When I look at Denver, the thing that Peyton is doing now better than he did 10 years ago, he's not dependent on that home run play. He's really gotten better as he's aged. He's really been like a fine wine. He's lost some zip on the ball, doesn't have that spiral, but he can still get it to his receivers. I think history is made tomorrow night. I like Denver. San Fran's defense is good, but they're not great.
Christian Simpson joins us here at the Chicago Beat. You can see him everywhere on the polar opposites, the Sports Den, Fantasy Fanatics, WXCI 91.7 in Connecticut. And you can follow him on Twitter at the Daily Blitz _61. Christian, you're doing all this stuff. I'm surprised you don't have more gray hair. I used to make fun of you all the time about that.
You really did, man. Come on, man. I'm too sexy for gray hair.
Oh, come on. Now you're calling yourself sexy. No, somebody else has to call you that, man. It doesn't work that way. You're becoming Shaq now, giving yourself nicknames.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I can't do that.
All right, so
I can't do that.
Yeah, now let's before I let you go, buddy, you've been awesome with your time, and I'm gonna have you back on around week 8 so we can have about a midway of the season conversation about how everything's looking at. But week 7, what has you excited?
Man, really, this Peyton Manning getting ready to make history. I mean, he's one of the best quarterbacks we've seen play the game. Yeah, he's struggled in the playoffs, but he's really the face of football. Just like we always said Derek Jeter was the face of baseball, Peyton Manning is really an ambassador for the sport. Such a class act, such a humble guy, about to break Brett Favre's record and become the all-time leader in touchdown passes. He has Denver playing with a lot of confidence right now. He just makes everybody around him better. He's a head coach on the field. So that 49ers and Broncos game, that could be a potential Super Bowl preview, Mike.
It's going to be great. Now, you just couldn't help it, could you? You could not just help of giving Derek Jeter a little dab, could you? You just couldn't help yourself.
Come on, man. I'm a Yankee fan. I'm a New Yorker. I couldn't.
So ESPN and everybody else didn't do enough of it for you? You have to keep doing it in October?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Christian Simpson, Polar Opposites, the Sports Den, Fantasy Fanatics, WXCI 91.7 in Connecticut. Follow him at the Daily Blitz _61. Buddy, thank you so much. Enjoy the games, and we would love to have you again here on the Chicago Beat.
Absolutely. I'm here with you guys. Thanks, Mike. Keep up the great work.
You
man.
too,
You're doing a
buddy.
fantastic job. Thank you so much.
Christian Simpson from the Daily Blitz giving us some awesome stuff here on the Chicago Beat. Follow us on Twitter at the Chicago Beat. Follow the wrestling show at WC Wrestling Talk. And you can follow me at mmercado2333. And while you're at it, make sure you give us a like on Facebook as well. Coming up next, another great single off of the Oriole Galaxy. Next week, we have the man behind the album coming into studio, Adam the Hav. The man, the myth, the legend, backed by Popular Demand. Can't wait to have him in studio. Thank you for keeping it tuned in with us. I am Mike Mercado, and you are on the Chicago Beat.